What am I doing? You're the one that starts these things.
I know, that's what I was waiting. I was like, is he going to do it?
How you doing, Ol?
BarCast. BarCast. BarCast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to BarCast.
It's your co-host today, Chris, and me, the one and only, the intro breaker, the starter maker. So, today's
He's
episode,
called Mark.
Well, maybe.
You didn't say that. You didn't.
No, maybe. It's me, your lovable host. If you haven't guessed my voice by now, what is wrong with you? Check out CM Bar Chats and look at our channels and see the wacky adventures of where we've gone.
Yes. We've done a couple of things as of late. I mean, it's been a while since episode 1.
Yeah.
We haven't reset a schedule for this season because season 1 we did every other week, but we only did it for like 6 months.
Yeah.
Season 2 we did every other week for like the first 10 episodes.
Yeah, and it kind of like burnt us out in that regard.
So we moved it to like once every month,
Yeah.
once every 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So this season we're trying to have fun,
Yes.
but we're also trying to mix the essence of the two seasons together. Season 1 was nerdy, season 2 was very personal,
And now we're going back to the roots.
but we're mixing it with the personal shit as well.
Yeah, which unfortunately you guys got put up with. So you either love it, hate it. But if you have got feedback, do let us know, and we can change it up. We won't change everything for like demands. We will still keep our personality and our identity, who we are.
Yeah, we're doing this for us.
Yeah.
So if you don't like it, tough.
But if you're a sponsor, check me out. The lovable guy.
Yeah, Viking stuff for him, music stuff for me.
Yeah.
Panda stuff also for me.
Yeah.
Cat stuff for him.
Yes.
Anyway, that's enough blagging. Let's actually get to the meat and potatoes.
So, lately, folks, there was a trailer drop for a film that I'm looking forward to watching.
Thor, Love and Thunder.
And it's going to be good. It looks like they've got a nice stage of like where it's going to be set in, because you don't know if it's here, there, or anywhere. So there's a little bit of mystery that's got. Now, everyone who has caught up the films, not massive spoilers, but it looks like it's going quite nicely from continuing his story.
Yeah, I like that they're still giving him the character development that they've been working on for the past, 3 Thor films and 4 Avenger films.
Yeah.
So it's nice that they're actually like including all of that character growth and putting it into this. Also, he's the only one of the original 6 getting a 4th movie.
Yeah.
Because Iron Man and Captain America only had 3.
Yes. But
He's getting a 4th. And
Yeah.
he's the only one to do that.
Which is quite interesting to know. And the one thing that I like though is that if anyone has seen it or if not, there's a few characters that are getting introduced that will be very interesting into the future and not just the film. In regards, I could say a lot more because the trailer has been out there, depending on how my co-host wants to go, because sometimes people like to go into blind into watching these films and not knowing too much, and then there's someone like me that don't know like exactly the whole plot of where it's going, but I can see various characters and try and piece things together. Now, what people have noticed is he's got a new outfit. He's developed his new type of like outfit, and it makes sense because where he's joined and what group he's with now, it makes sense on his journey.
Yeah.
And also, what's quite interesting is you're going to see some more development and potentially a new Asgard.
Yes. There was a little Easter egg in Spider-Man No Way Home, where very throwaway, you could easily miss it. And spoilers if you haven't seen Spider-Man yet. But when they're showing the news article talking about all of Spider-Man's antics, across the breaking news at the bottom, there is a political turmoil in New Asgard, or something along those lines. So this has been hinted at, and I can't wait to see King Valkyrie do her thing.
Yeah, and to be honest, with the Valkyries, everyone knows like she's like one of the last of that kind that we know at the moment. And they used to do so much honouring things, so she's very true. But she's also got the smarts of being on a planet of doom and death. So that's quite good skills to have.
Yeah.
But going back to the adventures and that, it looks like we're going to see a lot more mythology and like some different ones coming in, which looks very nice.
Yeah, I quite like how Marvel likes bringing in all the mythology, because obviously at the moment there's Moon Knight with the Egyptian mythology. There's hints of Greek mythology coming up in Thor, and like honestly, out of all the history stuff, mythology was probably my favorite stuff. Like,
I love.
I wasn't a big history guy at school, but mythology has always been interesting.
Mythology is a very good term, and it's also where culture evolved from. When you think about it, because you look at the Norse and how various characters have gone by, and yes, they are gods, but you not look at them like you would see Christianity's gods as such. So yes, there was fights between gods, and it used to happen a lot. In different, some had more wisdom of others, and some were caring, and not everyone saw eye to eye, but it was different characters. And yes, there was a leader. I mean, in Norse mythology, you know Odin.
In Greek mythology, you got Zeus. Is Egyptian Ra the sun god?
I got to remember actually. I haven't looked
I
into it.
feel like it would be.
Because you have got some interesting types. Vague on more of the Egyptian types, but when you look at it, it's quite. And each one means a different thing. It's like the element. So everyone says like as like God was the creator of everything. But then you look at other mythology and you see.
Yeah, I much prefer the other mythologies goes, this is the god that deals with this thing. And it makes it much more plausible, because if you're the god of everything, Jesus Christ, that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And also, you're making then again, it makes a lot of sense, because there's a lot of fuck-ups that go around the world at the moment.
Oh, God, yeah.
And one person can very easily miss all of that. So, okay, there are swings and roundabouts. Let's put it that way. Swings and roundabouts. But speaking of mythology, I'm going to move us on to our next topic before we do start saying something which might be spoiler for Thor. Because as much as we love Thor, and we could talk about him forever, and it's something that I'm probably going to know more about than you, also does include mythology.
Yes.
Doctor Who.
Yes.
Wee!
So, as everyone knows, apart from myself, we're getting close now to the end of a chapter.
Yes.
Or we think we are.
Well, we are. Jodie Whittaker on Easter Sunday, which was April 17th or 18th, whatever it was, just they had her penultimate episode as the Doctor. Excuse me. So obviously after her after the next episode, she's not going to be the Doctor anymore.
That's going to be me. The adventures.
You gotta. I hope you like running.
I'm sure I can just make it like a cat.
And but my worry is at the end of the episode they showed the trailer for the finale. My worry is they're trying to fit too much in.
Oh, okay.
Because, like, with a Doctor Who finale, at the end of something, you want something big and impactful. For Rose, it was the Cybermen versus the Daleks. For Donna, it was the Daleks and the end of the world. For Martha, it was the Master. For Peter Capaldi, it was the Master, Missy, and the Cybermen. For Matt Smith, it was Trenzalore, which was his whole life, but mostly Daleks at the end. But with Jodie, it looks like they're trying to do Cybermen, Daleks, and the Master.
Ooh.
And, like, if you throw two of them in the mix, fine, but I think adding a third is risky.
Guess you got an enemy, but I think you've got the saying, like, enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yeah, but I just think they're going to put too much in this. Like, I think Jodie Whittaker was a good idea for the Doctor.
Mm.
And I will stand by that because she had the right sort of quirky energy for it.
Mm-hmm.
However, the execution was not best planned.
Oh, okay.
Like, there were some stories like there was a spider story in one of the seasons. Great idea. I liked it. Like, I like the idea. Like, ginormous spider. Like, remember Aragog from Harry Potter? Like, them, but bigger as well.
Oh, almost like 8-legged freaks.
Yeah, absolutely terrifying. Could have been amazing. It just didn't feel as good as it could have been.
Ah.
But it was
Phillips
more...
rushed?
I just don't think the storyline was strong enough.
Oh, okay.
Like the monsters they've had and the ideas for the stories they've had have been fine. But the execution of the story, and I don't think it's the acting, but I think it's just the way they've been told to deliver the lines.
Right, okay, I get it.
Like the stage show actors. Like, that hasn't quite fully set with me with Jodie Whittaker's Doctor, and I think that's a shame. I'm really looking forward to Stephen Moffat taking the reins back for a bit. Because he had some really good stories.
Is it? So is the finale the one that you see the advert with, like, the ship? Or was that not the end?
The ship was the episode that just aired.
Right.
And I was really hoping that there was a big sea creature in it. And we were speaking mythology, and when I was watching it, I saw, like, the shadow, and my brain instantly went, oh, please tell me they're giving us Cthulhu. I would have loved to have seen... No, it was just a giant sea devil. It was all right.
So when I seeing like the Kraken would have been good.
Yeah.
And the thing is, when you are at sea, it's like it is what's we know more about space than we do the sea. And that's a scary thought. We don't know the full of our planet.
But because of the pressure of the sea, it's hard to explore it. They haven't quite made the technology yet to explore it.
No.
However, we figured out how to get into space. So it swings and roundabouts. Also, Doctor Who, I believe you said you haven't watched much since David Tennant.
Yeah.
So when roughly did you fall out of it?
I think it's just I wasn't watching as much TV at the time, and when it was always at a set time. Like
It was 7:30 on a Saturday night.
yeah.
I should know. I sat down every Saturday to watch it. No, I watched every Sunday morning because I was working as a waiter then.
But yeah, no, I think I just got out of it. It was like watch the end of his storyline, and then when it went on to Matt, I've seen the occasional one, but by then I was kind of, I don't know if I was in the country for a while or that's when I left college.
Let's see, Matt was 2011.
Oh no, so I would have been starting.
16, 17.
So I would have been starting like college and that. So I was probably focusing on that at the time, and then playing games and stuff. That would have been what would be going on that duration.
No, that's fair.
But it's like because it was on a fixed date. That was the thing. It was like there's too much that was fixed. Like The Apprentice going on.
Yeah, Saturday was a very busy day for TV back then. Like Saturday these days is pretty terrible.
Yes, and yeah, the weekend is now crap. It's like midday, you got everything. So what? Yeah. But then again, this is what streaming business is. You've got more shows that you can watch at any time you want to watch. Like, I mean, if you think about it with Disney, they've got all like the Marvel and all their films are coming in, and they're working on a lot more. And then you've got all like Netflix and all that. I mean, that's the interesting thing. How like Netflix is now almost getting rid of all the Marvel stuff.
I don't think it's Netflix's full choice.
No.
I feel like that could just be Marvel pulling their contracts back so they can put it onto their buyers Disney's thing. So Disney, it's probably a Disney decision more than a Netflix decision.
Makes you wonder if they're going to remarket it. Because going away, spoiler warning for the Spider-Man film, we see Matt.
Yes, you see Matt Murdock. I think that's quite a well-known cameo now.
But just in case no one has, and you don't know who it is
Daredevil.
And it's quickly stated.
He's a bloody good lawyer.
Yes. And introducing him has made a giant leap between... He's the first one to arrive along with Kingpin.
Yes.
And they are two of the big characters to show. So...
I mean, not that Kingpin lasted long.
No.
That might be a spoiler for one of the shows, so I'm not going to say any more on that.
But the thing is, we know with Marvel, unless you see.
Yeah, unless you see a character die, they might not be dead.
No, and that happens all the time. You can watch like Agents of Shield for that quote.
Yeah, and it's literally because you didn't see Coulson die in Avengers. No. You just assume he does. I mean, to be fair, he got stabbed through the back. And he was like he's probably one of the first proper, other than Loki. But Loki's a god, so that he's the first human.
Yeah.
And then whatever the fuck happened to Coulson.
Yeah, I sent Chris a recap video that shortens all the seasons.
I haven't seen it yet. I will get to it.
But if you haven't watched it, it sums up, and it's really well done. Instead of watching every episode, it does show you all the highlights of it, and you know what the story is, and it makes sense. And it kind of made it a bit more sense with how he was describing how it all went, so it pieced it together. And this was like in less than a couple of hours, just like it might have been like an hour or less than that, describing from seasons 1 to like I think it was 7 or 6 or something like that. And yeah, I thought like, all right, to round up Chris with all like the thing, I'll just send them out.
Yeah,
it wasn't my cup of tea. It's not how I wanted the Agents of Shield to go, unfortunately. But it's hard to do the Agents of Shield because there is what they were doing in like the first few seasons. I believe was quite good, like tracking down and doing that. And that's
the Hydra stuff. That season 1 was quite good. And that's what I like, and having like the the guy on the inside of the team and all of that, and like, oh, there's a spy amongst us, and that bit I found really clever. But I didn't really fully get into season 2.
And the thing is, what they missed their mark on is they could have really opened the dark side, or like the more magical side of Marvel with like the unknown, where like they're the group of team that are dealing with the incident. So, for example, if people have watched, what was it? It was the film that we watched. They had the Black Knight in. What was it called? Eternals. Yeah. After credit scene, spoiler alert, you find out about a new side. So there's a load on the world going on, and you find out about there's the magical side and there's the sword and all of this, and it's like that's what Shield could have been dealing with because they were global, but they're kind of making it too American. Because like you have like fair enough, yes, you've got Shield that was like might have started there with like Captain America and that, but it was during like the World War.
Yeah,
and that's when like everyone was coming together.
Yeah, Peggy.
Because like you had, so obviously, well, like you had like Bucky Rogers part of that team. There were other nationalities in that team, but you never got to see them. Like,
the German guy, didn't you?
You got like and you got all these characters that they could have like gone in, and in Marvel you've got stuff that is quite interesting, and it could have been right. This spooky event's going on here. Let's go and try and isolate it and then deal with it. Kind of what I want to see in the game in a way. It would be like imagine playing like a Shield team and going against all of these stuff. What's happened to my co-host is he's got the giggles today.
Okay, no. For context, our viewers, like, we're trying to keep an eye on chat or it's not interacting too much, but Doc, you can't just drop that because that's... I will read it out for the people who can't see this because this will be pure audio. He said, update, we're at the library for story time with my son. He's running around screaming, fuck! And my wife turns to me glaring, that better not be what she thinks it is. Lol. I may be in trouble. And my brain literally just went to Ralph Wiggum from The Simpsons going, I'm in danger! So yeah, but Doc, I'm really giddy today. I've had a good weekend. My mental health is at an all-time high for like the first time in 6 months. And I was just like I was walking down the road singing songs with my feet getting blisters whilst at it, and I'm still in like a really jolly mood. Also, Mark brought me sugar. A lot of sugar.
It's not my fault. It's not my fault.
And you enjoy it. I do. It's fine.
Oh no, don't worry, mate. This is what we were looking for in the season. Is more interaction. So it's how our podcast want to be is it is flowing, and we want to be able to like have you guys engage in like saying that story, for example. We can engage with you, builds up. It's how we want it to be. You see podcasts everywhere that it's like they'll have guests and like fixed and that, but we also want to get you guys like yourselves involved, and this is what we love, the engagement, because then we can talk about the story, have a laugh about it, and we can express stuff like we might have done when we were young and like at that age,
dumb, and living off mum.
Yeah, so that's
God, that was a terrible BBC Three show. Do you remember it?
Was that the one where they went on holidays? Or...
No, that was actually no, it might be
because it used to be like they went on holidays and like the parents would like investigate them. I thought
that I'm sure that was called something else.
Was I mistaken?
No, yeah. I'm sure I know the show was called Young, Dumb, and Living Off Mum, but I can't remember if that was the holiday one where the kids would go away, and the parents would stalk them.
You know what? Well, he's like digging.
But no, but I'm gonna talk about this. I'm gonna talk about it as if it was that show.
Yeah.
But oh my god, that show was terrible. Like, it was quite funny. Don't get me wrong. Like, these kids were like, "Oh yeah, my mum." Or was Young, Dumb, Living with Mum was when they finally move out and try and fend for themselves.
You're right. A group of 17 to 25-year-olds with no life skills are fast-tracked into becoming adults. This was in 2009.
Yeah, I was 14, so obviously, me being me, I used to think about my future a lot and goes,
"Oh, I had Robert Webb."
Yeah, I'm like, oh yeah, I would be so good at living on my own. Fast forward to now, and I'm like, I'm doing okay. As you can see, shelf.
Ah, right, yeah. Basically, yeah. No, you're very right. It's been pampered where like they've not had to do anything. Yeah, I just like read the brief. Basically.
Young, dumb, and living off mum.
Yeah. So basically, like not even wanting to learn, which unfortunately does happen in this time and age. And the thing is, it's not even wanting to learn the skills, which is the worst thing, because it's like eventually you're gonna have to set foot in this life. And the thing is, it's best to do it when you like, even if you just want to like study a course online. I mean, I've done that. I mean, I've taken up Norse mythology and Viking history.
And I've taken up Spanish.
See, the thing is, we are always improving our skills, and as young adults, it's the thing to do, because what I find is that in schools you can learn certain stuff, but you don't learn what you want. In history, it always used to be, oh, the Tudors, the Tudor this, the Tudors that, and it's like,
oh god,
that's the most boringest era.
I got so bored with the Tudors, which is hilarious because we're essentially a Tudor town, because we have 3 Tudor castles. Well, we got 2 Tudor castles and a Tudor ruins.
Yeah.
With Walmer Castle, Deal Castle, and Sandown Castle.
But who gives a damn about that? We want to learn
pretty,
about the other
pretty castles. Don't get us wrong. The cannons look cool. Couldn't give 2 shits.
It's like when you compare knights, for example. You think of a knight, but 9 times out of 10, you're going to think a knight is a normal foot soldier. Not that they actually used to be a lord, and they were very, they were better not to kill them and take them as hostage, because they would be lords. Knights were lords. It was all the peasants that used to be the fighters. Now, a lot of people might know that, but not everyone does. Because if you think of a knight,
a knight is sir, and people called sir had land, and that's the way you remember it. Because you wouldn't call a peasant a sir.
No,
you wouldn't.
Your Majesty or Your Highness and stuff like that. In a way,
no, you call a peasant a peasant.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were talking about like royalty.
No, you call a peasant
or any other name that's not very correct.
Yeah, I'm just being polite here.
Me, I'll tell you like what it could be like the wrong sign.
Yeah, but you know, this is
this is
family friendly-ish, minus some of my bad language.
It's mature. I mean, to be honest, we're doing quite well, because usually it's me that our language comes out of.
You've been working on that though.
Yeah,
I haven't.
But going back, yeah, like the peasants and that were like the bread and butter, but you weren't kept. You were basically disposable. A knight is not. A knight is very much not disposable, because 1, obviously you had the education. 2, they actually were training future knights and the future eyes, and also the land that they owned was actually quite vast compared to a lot of nobility. You might have like, say like you've got a manor house, but then you might have a farm and you might go from there. And you could obtain more. But there was a fun story where I think it was French and English knights all got together and had like a massive fight. I think there was only like 3 casualties at the end, and that was very rare. because it was just like a fun war.
3.
I think it was either 3 or 4. There weren't.
That's not a lot. That's very civil.
Because, but that's the thing with the fights. It was you want to beat them down, but not necessarily kill. And that's the thing, is you don't necessarily want to kill people because that's a lot to do afterwards. And holding nobility is a worthwhile thing because you can get land back and money back. I mean, hell, if they could steal nobility, they would do it all the time. The only reason why you had like great armies at one point was when you're doing large scale wars, but that was before guerrilla warfare was becoming a thing. But when you think about it, a lot of armies half the time would like get mercenaries, and I think it was, if I recall in my history, not exact, I can't remember the exact dates, but you did have in France that they used to hire the Vikings because the Vikings were so good at what they were doing and raiding the lands. Now, what's interesting that I missed and I should have shut up earlier was about is why was Chris so giddy? Now, he's now looking away because I'm bringing this in because I can talk about history for a while. But that's not what this episode is about today. So he's laughing because he knows that I'm going to bring this up.
I am always giddy, but I'm especially giddy today.
Oh, yes.
I'm an especially good.
You're like, I'll give him a moment. But let's just say Chris is giddy because he had like a mini reunion, and he got to meet someone that I haven't met myself. I only know of by name.
I assume drugs. No drugs.
And I'm assuming they might know of me. I don't know of them.
They know of you because I talk about you.
Oh, okay. Be like, what's Mark ruining their podcasting? His streams and no, but it was a nice thing to remember because I remember him telling me about it. And if you are listening, it'd be a pleasure to meet you one day. I'm sure I will. Or you'll see this thing and you'll get to know who I am and probably think I'm staying away from that guy.
No, she wouldn't do that.
If you met me, yeah.
She well, if you'd seen my feature wall, which is unfortunately behind the camera, she's on there. She's a friend. We've known each other for 11 years. We did a year of school together, year 12, which is, I don't know what that is in American. Sorry, first year of sixth form. I don't know what that is.
Would that be
sophomore?
Yeah, because what you got?
No, junior, because senior is 18, so it's a junior, 17. I think it's a junior class because you have freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. So technically junior year. So if brain works correctly, because it's 2 years before you go off to college or university.
Yeah,
depending on what you call it.
Because they're one.
It's a bit different.
It's like our uni.
Yeah. So it's junior year. Brain.
So basically, where I know this story, and I'm going to speed it out until he actually gets some words. So obviously, this person Chris has known for like 11 years, and it was basically someone coming over from another country, of course, if I'm getting that right.
Yep.
So obviously, host families is what you used a lot when you go over. And you get to see a school. Like, if anyone's done like a field trip and you've gone somewhere else, you had like a pen pal. If you're like a UK school, usually it's like a pen pal sorting out across in Europe. I'm not sure what the states might do. I mean, you might talk to another state, but it might not be the same. So it was good because it was a culture exchange. You got to see how it was in the UK, and then you could learn from them. And what was also good is if you're in the atmosphere and it's an educational thing, you can learn quite a bit. And obviously, that was the start of a friendship.
Yeah, 11 years ago, we did our first year of sixth form together. She was in my maths and ICT class, so we spent about 10 hours a week together. 10 hours over 2 weeks. No, 10 hours a week. Oh, I was right. 10 hours a week.
Yeah, it kind of works because I mean
there's 25 school hours in a week, and we had 2 lessons out of the potential 5. So 40%. So yeah, 10 hours a week. We got there. And then obviously if we had free periods matching or lunch times or breaks and all that. So we spend that together too. And
Yes, there's maths. Unfortunately, that's his bread and butter.
And then so we spent the year together. That makes it sound more romantic than it is, but it's not.
They had a platonic.
Yeah, we had a friendship.
Yes.
To be fair, I was crushing on our Italian friend during that year.
Hey, if you're listening, tune in.
Ciao, Simona. Apparently she knows anyway, so
That's fair play.
there's
no harm.
there's no harm in saying ciao, Simona for now. Then a year goes by and they come back and I see them for coffee for one day. Then we don't see each other for, I've got to do it correctly, 5 years? Yeah, 2018. I didn't see them till summer 2018. They came over again and, spent some time with them. Spent 2 days, I spent time with them twice. One being that picture on my wall, which I'll put here for the YouTube video.
Oh, look at the young little Grace.
And I can tell it's 2018 because I have the first son of my beard.
Yes, because when I knew Chris, it was like the early days between...
I didn't have a beard when you met me.
No, this is the thing.
So then after that, in the summer, in the October of that year, I went to Denmark to see Elena.
And that was a story.
And now that was a highlight. But that was the last time I saw them before this time, which was 3.5 years ago. So the last time I saw them, we had dinner together, we did karaoke, we watched a couple movies, just general friend things. And then they let me know at the start of this month. So you might know that, that actually reminds me when we recorded the first episode of the podcast. You might remember last month we got made redundant. And I hit a bit of a mental fly.
You did.
And I didn't do well for the first few weeks of it. I tried, don't get me wrong, streaming helped. I tried to sort myself out. I did okay. Not the best, but I tried.
He did well.
And then at the start of this month, I had a message from Elena saying, hey, I am in England over this weekend, which was the weekend just gone. If you're free, I'd like to be able to see you. Obviously, not having a job, I was very free. So just like, you know what? That'd be fantastic. I'm looking forward to seeing you. Because we've been talking on off for the past 11 years. The past 8 months in particular, we've been talking more. Because you and Max have not let me shut up about it.
Mate, I will hold him accountable for whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever I get. Because unfortunately, everyone has stuff on me.
Yeah, so it's rare for them to have stuff on me. But this past weekend, which is why I'm in a particularly good mood right now, both Friday and Saturday, I got to spend about 3 or 4 hours with her on each day. So on Friday, we went to the local pub. We caught up with her and another friend, Tommy, who is a streamer called Trundles, who I've raided a couple of times. So we caught up with him for a couple of hours. Then we met him at 5. Well, we were at the pub at 5. Then he went off at 7 and we stayed for another hour. Then I walked her home and walked myself home because that's what I do.
I had a massive phone call.
Yeah, I called him after I dropped her off and just debriefed. Then the next day I caught up with her again and Lucy. We went for coffee and then we went to the pub again because Lucy hadn't seen Tommy for a while, but it was the semi-final between Man City and Liverpool, so we were just like, oh, it's going to get rowdy. So Lucy left first and Elena and I went for a walk around town, and so I'm now be keeping in touch with Elena, and she could be back in September. And if she is, I can't wait to see her again.
No, obviously, this explains why he's in a giddy mood. And the thing is, it is good, because when you have talked to someone so long on social media and then get to meet them, you don't have to give a long induction of who you are. You can just basically spin off conversation. And fair play. I mean, it's happened many times. There's people that I haven't seen in years that I then meet up with. I mean...
You and Scott?
Yeah. For example, one of our mods and one of our best friends was someone I knew in primary, which is our First
and,
basically school.
and someone who has been in this podcast at least twice.
Yeah.
So yeah, our audience knows Scott.
Yeah. Well, if anyone's tuning in though, basically it's
Also, I'd just like to say, hola, Elena. Just
yeah, why not? I mean, at the end of the day, it's you never know who might be watching this. Now, obviously, yes, this is live at one stage, but it will be on our
YouTube channel.
If people are. And to be honest, it's not as much edited now because this is more natural. As you're seeing us live, we don't have to edit as nearly much as we used to.
Yeah, no, editing episode 1 took so little time. It was great.
Yeah. All we've got to do now is just cut off a few bits and mix it all together. So it works quite well. Obviously, if Gabe's mum is around, hello, howdy.
Yeah. Just hi, sweetie.
But yeah, so it makes sense. It's nice to see someone after so long and you gel, and it's different personalities all going together, and obviously, yes, different nation. And it works quite well as Chris is learning a new skill of Spanish.
Yeah, well, it's not really a new skill for me. It's rekindling an old skill.
So
because I did Spanish in my GCSEs.
New for the year.
Which was 11 years ago. Like, I finished my GCSEs 11 years ago next month. So it's been a long time since I did it, and I haven't really used it, so obviously my brain's forgotten.
Yeah, if you don't use it, you lose it.
So after seeing Elena over the week, because she's half Danish, half Spanish, and yeah, I thought, well, I might as well pick Spanish up again.
It's good skills to have.
So, well, that way I can talk to her as well in more languages. So yes, a little bit of a selfish reason, but.
Aye, but it all works in the end. And the good thing is, it's a new skill. And the thing is, it's different when you can talk to someone about it as well. Because you can learn languages as much as you want. But if you're talking to someone in the tongue, they can correct you and help you. They won't criticise you because you're learning something.
Yeah, and learning a language, I think is going to take a lot of mental effort from me. Plus, it'll be. I actually spent 40 minutes on Duolingo today. Because some people will do like their couple to get the day, so they have their streak, and I was just like, well, I got my streak. I was like level 2 on a skill, then I ended up mastering that particular topic.
Which is always good, because if you are progressing in a way and do it for long periods, you start developing new skills. And the thing is, it is the time that you put in. And if you like it, you might as well do it.
Yeah, and actually I found this topic really easy to sink back into, which was nice. Like, I've forgotten how much I did actually enjoy Spanish. It was just a genuine good time for me.
Which is always good. It's nice to have. And to be fair, it's one of many skills that when you get older, it's not harder. It's more, you've got to show commitment to it. Because you
see.
Yes, the sea is down there.
Oh
my God, is that a tidal
no,
wave?
no. The sea's that way.
I'm sure there's a little bit of water. I will cook a little bit of the sea down there. Even if it's a cup, you can put some salt in it. It's going to be the sea. You viewers, ignore where he pointed. I pointed there. It's going to be down there. You don't know the difference. He is a smart.
That way's the fishing lakes.
Yes, that way it is.
And they're fresh water, sweetie, not salt.
I'm sure there's some salt in there. Don't you dare think. Well, I think you're.
See. Play bar games. For reference, one of our ones went, I can't wait for Chris y Marca Juegos de Bar, which means I can't wait for Chris and Mark to play bar games.
Hey, so look, he's got another person who can talk Spanish with now, so that's good, that's the bonus. See, yeah. I expect to see a Discord chat.
Well, it says games of bar. Juegos de Bar. See, I remember, and I haven't even gotten to that bit of the Duolingo yet. I just remember that.
See, look, he's a happy boy. More giddy now.
Giddy.
This is what I've got to deal with.
But speaking of skills, you've picked up a new hobby yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. LARPer.
Yes.
So for those that don't know, the fuck is LARP?
So LARP is basically shortened down from live action roleplay. Now, if
That's what it means.
yeah, literally L for like live, action, role, play.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and basically just shorten it down to LARP. So if anyone was familiar with anything like Dungeons and Dragons, it's you can have different elements of LARPing. Like you could make it the medieval time, you could change it to what you want for different settings, but it's basically the live action. So you can say where your character's going, but you have to actually actively do this. So combat is active. So if you've got a shield and you've got a thing, you're actively moving it around. You're not being like, oh, I hold this up and do that. No, you better do that because they'll swing. Obviously, different LARP things, it is very safety alright, but you can still have fun. So the weapon, it's not like reenactment battles where you've actually got the real weapons. They are designed in a way that they won't actually hurt you. You'll feel it, but it won't hurt you in a way. It's nice coatings. And the one thing that is nice about it is that you've got different weapons and different ways to use it. So, for example, you could have an axe, a two-handed weapon, sealed shields, bows and arrows as well. And what's quite nice about it is that it's all engaging, and you do develop skills that you can get. So you do level up, same as like Dungeons and Dragons. If you increase your skill in might, you get like lug, which is basically for about a minute you can hold something heavy or carry someone, but you use one of your abilities until the next encounter. So let's say I'm on an adventure. The first encounter is going to be a fight. Let's say one of my teammates gets injured. I could probably stabilise them using one of my skills, and then I would have to carry them away. But then I've used one of my skills, so I can't use another type, so I can only use a certain general. So if I had like 3 in might, I can use 3 skills in that encounter. Anything after that is gone. So if I use lug to hold them for like 3 minutes, I can't really like use brace or juggernaut.
Okay.
But I can still swing my sword and like guard myself. And what's interesting is that my movements are actually quite good with a shield.
Have you found a person who's shorter than you yet, so you could go, tell me how the ground tastes, little man?
I could do that in reenactment, but I'm not sure they would, unless I really know the person, I'm not sure they'd thank me for knocking them right the way to the ground. Not like my favourite video.
For reference, there is a short video. I don't know if it's TikTok or if it's a Vine or however old it is, but it's basically, there's guys at LARP, clearly, or a Renaissance Fair or whatever it is, and there's a big guy in like a suit of armour, and there's a guy who's a fair bit smaller and shorter than him, and he shouts what I just said, tell me how the ground tastes, little man, and whacks him with his shield, and he literally just conks out. But it is absolute comedy gold.
And then the thing is, the main difference that you have between like reenactments, yes, you do like the courses, you do like the training for it, and yeah, you do go almost like ham on people because you've got the real armour, you've got that. Obviously, you're not trying to kill each other massively.
You go ham on them, you glaze them.
I'm sure if it ever got to that, that'd be a very worrying scene. To be honest though, it would actually help the armour, because vegetable oil can help real life armour. It can keep it going from rusting.
I was thinking of honey, but sure. Honey glaze.
Well, sometimes honey can fix stuff as well. Because obviously, actually, honey's quite good for wounds if you get any, because of the sugar. Because when like an animal hurts itself.
It's also good for your throat.
No, not making it. So, back to it though. The main difference between what you got reenactments, yes, is actually using the real weapons to a certain level, not as sharp as they might be, but you are using full force and you can feel it. And yeah, your armour will actually get dented, bruised, and all of that. But it's the fun for it. It's not for everybody, and it can be extreme for some. But you do it with groups, and you do learn from it and how to do it, and you learn the proper ways of doing it. So that's what the idea of reenactment is. Whereas LARP, obviously you're doing it more of the fun, like the story time and that. And there are ways you can get hurt, but we reduce it as best as we can. Everything's safety, all done. We even do like weapon checks at the start. Because the one thing is you don't want to hit someone with a weapon and it's going to like cause massive pain where you've got a bruise, because how are you going to explain, oh, I've got this bruise from doing combat? Like, what the hell have you been doing?
I got hit with a sword, I got impaled, this was a mace. That was a battle axe. I don't know how they got that in.
And what is quite fun is like when you do the LARPing thing, the good way of doing it is some people will be monsters and some will be the likes of the adventurers. So as the adventurers, you do get paid, which you can use that resource in the gaming world. So like if you were building something, you might be able to buy this, extend your story as you go. For example, I've defended stuff. I'm like a mercenary character anyway, so if I'm getting paid to do it, that's fine. I'm not necessarily going to rescue everybody unless I get paid. But the one element is that I've loved being the monsters. So I've been stuff like water elements, I have been fisherman demons, I have been civilians that have been turned to stone. And what's good is I love doing the roleplay. I love to like make characters and go stuff like that. You'll see it in the streams half the time. If we've been doing something, I'll have a character. Or if it's like Among Us, for example, my guy's got a story.
Yeah. And yeah, no, it is a pretty good workout.
Oh mate, it's my
the
favourite
armor, the
type
heavy
of-
tools.
Yeah, because I'm developing more of my outfit. Like I've actually got pouches and I've actually got weapon things to hold it. So, and the good thing is because I am basically into like the Viking things. My kit develops in two ways. I can use it both for my Viking stuff and I can use it for roleplay. So I've got two in one, and it's gear that I can actually wear outside into the real world, which I'm not going to get arrested for.
Yes.
Because if I carry around a weapon.
Yeah, you'll get done for carrying a weapon that could be useful.
Whereas, like, if it's a padding thing, and that's not going to hurt somebody, then it's like anything you can carry normally.
Yes, we'll go with that.
But what's
Chris's brain stopped working.
It has indeed. Now, this usually is what happens to me, but fair enough. This is what I'm here. I'm good for the times when the tongue twisting of the cats takes place. As they say, cats grit your tongue or your nose, depending on what you want to lose. But yeah, LARPing's quite fun, and you develop your character how you want to, and you can talk with refs. Even if it's not a skill that's written down, you could say, "Oh, could I use this custom skill of I've got 7 in might? Could I basically lob my companion over to the other side? Let's say you got a trap." Kind of like an adventure that Chris reminded me that we said about how one of his characters in D&D lobbed another character and it hit straight in the wall. Potentially this could actually happen in my thing if I was to be like, I'm going to throw said player across this map. If I fail, or it'd be like, all right, how much might have you got? And I say, oh, I actually got 5 instead of 7. They're going to be like, right, you've hit your ally onto the wall, which has come crashing down. They've now taken 3 global damage.
Yes, but did you do a battle cry?
Oh, I did. As monsters, I love the battle cry. At one point,
Can you give us an example?
We did like so we were slimes at one point, and we were joking about like making the sounds of Mr. Blobby. If anyone remembers that show, we're like blub 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 blub. And then near the end of the encounter, it was like a massive fight between us, which we became like these ogre-like creatures. And the battle cry that the monster ref said is blah blah blah. So there was me on the battlefield. That I had to be slow as well because it can't like be massively like running as an orc. You're big, you got to move. And it was like blah blah blah, and it was just me just like charging at the plate. And the thing is, right, I'm quite loud as a person. Not like I'm actually quite in theory. I can be quiet, but if I'm like doing a roll, it's loud. I think I shocked a few people that day because there was no talking to a creature that's walking up. Blah blah blah. And this is me just charging, and I think I was like had a shield and like a thing, and it's just going down. But there was time when I was like a fish monster, and it was a similar type of thing of like there was an engagement between two like the adventurers stayed as a wall. Our group wasn't sure. Well, how are we going to go in? They'd be like, "Oh, can we talk peacefully?" And we're like, "No, you're food. You are food." And they was like trying, "Oh, can we be?" And I was like, blah, 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 blah. And I had like wielded this sword right the way down and basically initiated the combat. Because at the end of the day, there's no talking to a fishman, not when you're his food. So pretty much, I'm there for like starting it. The one thing I have to remember that can be mentally tiring for me is that I have to remember what skills I have, the limits that I have on these skills, and also what the players do to me. Because I've got certain hit points that I'll have as a monster. So, for example, I might have 3 hit points per. So that's my arms, my legs, my torsos. Head is not a place that you'll ever get hit, so it doesn't count. Or you could have like 3 pits being globally.
I can't imagine being in a medieval war and someone's charging you and going, blah, blah, blah!
Oh, mate, it was what I was doing. It's like saying, if you want me to say something, I will go for it.
But saying that, it just makes me think of Hotel Transylvania. Blah, blah, blah. I do not say blah, blah, blah. The only time I say blah, blah, blah is when I tell people I do not say blah, blah, blah.
I was waiting for someone to actually do that to me, and I was thinking, like, it'd be so best if they did. But there's been times when I could overhear a group of adventurers trying to get through the door, and it was a door that they could either lockpick and go through, or they could kick it down and take damage. And one of them was like, "Oh, but I'm squishy," being like, he can deal damage but not take it. And basically, so there was another time when I was a Jolton, which is like quite a giant creature, and I just remember shouting, "The squishy one is mine! I just gotta charge." Now the thing is, what's quite funny is this is the information that I pick up. But as monsters, in Insane Fight, you make the balance of making it a challenge but also fun for them. Now the thing is, Chris could imagine this actually me doing this, and yes, this does happen. The thing is, most times people don't like being monsters because one, it's like you don't get like experience as much. You do get glimmer, which is an artifact, but I just love sometimes being a monster because one, I know I'm going to die. I mean, when you're going against a party of 8 people, and it's like you got one. And the thing is, it's very hard because if you are a slow monster, you know you're going to swing slow. You can't like swing supersonic speed.
But are there bows?
Bows?
Bows.
However, I would, if I was on a bow as a monster, that'd be quite hard. I'd be like, "Oh, I'm going to shoot you," but then like, the rest of the party's gone around like hacking my arm. And the thing is, if I say I've got like 5 hits on my arm, they do 5 hits of damage, like contact, and my arm could be severed, so I can't use it unless I count out for a healer. And the thing is, spells are not quick. They usually take between 30 seconds to a minute to cast. And if you think that's time in live combat, so if you've got a warrior, that might charge you. So that's when you get skills like fumble, which would be like, I say fumble to your shield, it will drop. Or you could say like knockback, but you actually have to hit them, and it'd be like knockback where you go back 5 paces, or knock down and you go down for a bit. And that's when you do damage. So there is techniques into it. One of the awful times is like we've been monsters before, and the party doesn't necessarily know what our weaknesses is. For example, I played as a golem, and the only way they could actually defeat me is that if they took the rune off me. So I'd have like a bit of paper that would have a rune. So I would have like 15 hit points or like 10 hit points global. I would go down for the first. If they didn't take that rune off within 30 seconds, I would get back up, max health, and fight them again, unless they removed the rune that I had on me. But yeah, the arrows that you have for like LARP, it's more like padding one, so it's like.
I know I've been shot by him.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because
context. I don't go around just getting shot casually. I got a friend who lives up in Yorkshire who does LARPing as well, and he's got a bow and arrow set. And I went up to his in August over the bank holiday weekend, and we went to a field, and we got his 2 bows and all his arrows, and we had basically a shoot off where instead of like aiming at a target, we did one-on-ones.
One way to learn.
Yeah,
so if you could dodge an arrow.
If you can dodge it. And I got shot in the nut. Properly, full on, straight in the groin.
Shouldn't hurt that much.
Yeah, but it's a fast projectile hitting you right in the groin. And when you're not expecting it.
That's your mistake. Always expect the unexpected in combat.
No, I just turned at the wrong moment. I shot someone in the eye.
See, this is the thing. In LARP, you don't aim for the face.
I don't know how to aim. I was just aiming in that general direction.
He says that. And then,
I was like, yeah, this should get to them.
If you ever go against Chris, turn your back to him. So if he's going to hit you, it's the back of the head.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I didn't mean to shoot that arrow in this game. Oh, I didn't mean to knock you off this Yeah. I didn't mean means different in my thing than your sense. I didn't mean it means I thought it would be funny. It is funny. Thing is, I'm a good laugh though, so it's like if I do.
Yeah, I can get away with it.
Yeah, if it's some, we're a bit worried about how far we push them. But yeah, in LARP things, yeah, it's an arrow, but it's got like a padding. So
Yeah,
it's
it's
big.
like the front bit is like that, and it's all like really soft sponge.
Yeah.
And then the back, I reckon it's all sponge, and there's just a casing around it, and so it's just aerodynamic.
Yeah, usually it's
like I can fly really well. Sorry, lad, I didn't mean to stab you.
He's done that. Not real life. Not real life. He's done it in a game. He's murdered me before.
I've murdered you in games a lot of times.
Yeah.
Among Us. Mostly Minecraft.
Yeah, it's
Out of the two games, I've killed you more in Minecraft than I have in Among Us.
Yeah, Among Us is me. So don't worry, Chris, I'm going to help you fix this. He's dead. And it's barbaric.
Yeah, you normally skewer me through the back of the head.
I'm good like that. Headshot. But yeah, so
For me, I just knock you off at high places.
But yeah, but with the LARP in that, people will also help out with like gearing that, or if people got questions like combat and like how to do it. Because if you go into some cases, you think, do this, but someone might be like, right, you hold this there, but you could like change it. So if someone's going to swing, move your arm like so to defend it. So I've used round shields. I've used a kite shield.
I like kite shields.
And like I say about like hammering into the ground, because in some encounters I've been in, like moving a door, for example, we've had it explode and do like global damage. So every time we either go to a door or something, I'm going to put the shield down, being like, right, stand behind me, I'll block the damage.
Smart, like Tony in an endgame.
Yeah, basically stuff like that. But the good thing is in the game is that you can have elements like rust. So if you had a weapon that's got metal on, it rusts away, it's destroyed. And you need to either have someone that's got a crafting skill to be able to repair it. But if say I've only got crafting and like one skill of that, if I use that once in the encounter and they do it again, that weapon's made redundant. But what was interesting is that the creatures would be like one shot and dead. But you're worried about engaging with it, because if they got rust and the weapon's gone, you don't know if something else might come in. Cause
That's true. What about things like friendly fire? Does that happen?
Oh, another player could fight each other, and it has happened. Someone has like thrown a spell at somebody, and it will do damage, and that could have bad effects where your character can die on adventures and outside of adventures. So with LARPing, it's not just the combat and the adventure, but also when you go back to camp, where like everyone is, you're still in character, saying about the adventures and doing other stuff. It's not just what you do. So basically, if I was in the camp and I basically snuck behind someone and be like, stab, 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 in theory I could kill off that character. Would I be looked at fondly? Probably not. I'd probably have a bounty on me.
Yeah, but I must imagine all this LARPing must come in handy because you like story writing. So I've got to help. It's got to be helping like the brain juices fly.
God, yeah. Yeah, there was one world that we went into. It changed from one mission because like certain people couldn't attend because it was either they got sick or anything like that. So the changed into like a Hellraiser place, which is like obviously pain and all of that. I almost lost my limbs in some of the things because it was like trying to get someone out of a tree, and you had to pull them. But if you used like a teleportation spell and got them out, it would be the next body it would grab and pull into the tree, and it's causing them pain. So it's doing damage over things. So it's like how you had to do it was someone had to pull, someone had to try and bash the element of the tree. But the thing is, you had to stay away from the tree when you got them free because it would grab you back. There was no way of stopping it. You could use shatter, but the tree would just regrow.
Could you burn the roots?
No,
Okay.
Because it was regenerating itself. So we had to basically someone had to pull, someone had to hit it to try and like weaken the element so it pulled off. We managed to free them, but then we went into another trap. There was a door, and there was like chains, which you had to hold. But every 3 seconds, or was it? It might have been 6 seconds. You were taking 3 bits of damage.
Oh.
Now, for someone like me that has might, each one of my limbs had about 6 to 7 bits of health. So if they didn't act quick enough, my limbs would have been torn because I'm holding it like so. One person teleported through. That was safe. The other person tried lugging me, the chains wouldn't let go. So I was basically down to like 1 hit point on each of my things. So if it 2 seconds other transpired, I would have lost my limbs. So someone would have had to have come back to heal me for me to then recharge it. But we only had one healer, and it's not infinite amount of spells. So yes, I was kind of massively losing my will there, or my legs were going to go because I was getting hit there. But we escaped from that one. Then we were fighting Hellhounds, and one of the things is
a bit rough.
No spells were working on it because it was like a Hellraiser thing. It was like a pain like round, like torture area. If you hit the demons, they were liking it because it was pain. The way that we actually
they were all masochists.
Yes. and the thing is, it was like, what was interesting though is if you tried to heal them or use healing potions on it, it did more damage. Because if you think, if it's a torture realm and it's
like the undead in Minecraft.
Yeah.
If you use healing potions, it does damage. If you do harming potions, it heals them.
Yes, and that's what we had. So the first ever encounter we had in that realm, we basically had to. It was like zombies. So basically, we would cut all their limbs off, and they were fine. We could just walk away.
You should have gone for the head.
Oh, there was at one point we literally had to like knock them down and then try and cut their head off. If we didn't do that, they would come back. So we literally ran for stop fighting them. We've knocked them down.
Just run.
And there was one person that launched, but then a trap sprung, and it was like a fall of fire. And it was like that's when we had the interesting thing. We teleported some past it, but then one of these massive demon things came out and was really whacking us for like 3 points of damage. Now, might adds thing. If you're like a mage, you might only have 3 points on a limb. That's going to take you out.
Yeah.
So basically, there's me and a paladin, like with our shields, basically blocking their blows. And it's just like some of our abilities aren't working. So it's like knockback, it's like no effect. Because like some things are resistant. And we were like, come on. And so I was defending. And then when we got past that bit, we couldn't defeat him for ages. So basically, everyone that had the shield was trying to block it and distract it. I was covering the rogues that were lockpicking the door. Because it's the only way we were going to get through. Not as easy as that, because once the door was picked, there was traps. So it was basically defending, getting the other scout to come to dislodge all the rest of the traps for me to get through. Oh, but it was a funny ending, because it was like, my torso was fine. My legs, my arms were taking the toll. So if I took so many hits in certain things, I was going to lose my leg.
My leg!
I did say that at one point. If I like fucking lose my arm, I'll just use it as a weapon. Like,
Should pick up. Hey guys, do you need a hand?
I think if I ever lose my character and I can make like a human necromancer thing, I'm just gonna be like, what I'll do, I'll make it a weapon as an arm, and that will be my weapon.
It just goes. We could use a hand over here. Yeet!
I could do that. I could make a hand, but it's like a bone, and be like, right, yeah,
just for the puns. For the puns.
But yeah, so I've now done a weekend and a day of this, and it's been quite good. I've been invited to some more, but it's different LARP things have different rules and different skills and how you go and how you level up, and it's quite interesting. Like there's trade systems that you'll have, how you can actually make money in the game. So you could be like, oh, I'm going to conjure up a crystal that I can sell to someone, and like health potions you could be able to sell to people and stuff like that. It's actually quite a interesting market. Now, I never got to do this when I worked at sea.
No, because you always be at work when the events were on.
Or if I wasn't, I would be meeting up with other people on my weeks off.
You'd be seeing us on a lads' night,
Seeing
or
family,
or you'd just be recharging.
Yeah.
Because some weeks were just bash you for 10. I think that's one thing both of us have benefited from currently not working. Like we're both looking. We're not just being hobos.
Nah, yeah, we are basically coming up with new ways and stuff like that.
But it's going to take us some time.
Oh yeah, it's not as just straight and simple to go from. And then half time you got to wait for certain paperwork to come through before you can do it.
I mean, I don't have to wait for any paperwork, but because of the positions I go for, I generally have to go through general weights.
Yeah.
Like interviews, not paperwork per se, but it's just the interview process. Like, because generally closing dates for me are like a week or 10 days, and then they have to go through the shortlisting, then they'll organise interviews, and then after the interviews, I had an interview on the Tuesday of this week. It's Wednesday now, and I probably won't find out my result until tomorrow. And like, it's been over 24 hours, so I'm like slowly getting less hopeful.
I understand that, because I was like, I would want to position myself.
What would be my battle cry? Depends on the situation. Me not being a LARP myself.
It'd be a song. He would be like, living a lava lover.
It's living la vida loca.
Mate, if it's a riot cry, shut up. If it's a war cry, it could be what the fuck.
But as I say, it does depend on what situation.
Oh yeah, my war cry changes.
I feel like if it was like something slow, it would be more like yo, like something low. Like, I don't think I'd have like a really loud, angry battle cry like this fucker.
And the thing is, what I go,
or it'd be like my bard's battle cry when I play D&D. Oh, you wee shit! You're fucking going for it. And that's closest thing you get to a battle cry from my D&D character. And that's when I'm just about to smash him in the head with the hammer.
For me, I've not actually, for my actual adventure, I've not done a war cry. It's only for monsters that I've done war cries for, because it adds quite a funny effect. I mean, you don't expect a monster to fucking shout at you half the time.
No, that's the only thing you expect monsters to do, shout or roar at you.
But they don't expect it early in the adventure.
No, not early.
So this is like me just doing it early in the adventure. But I've been like from like warriors to mages in it. Whereas like my actual character is a Jolton, but he's a mercenary. So I've got like interesting skills where I've got knowledge, because I always believe in, if I'm a mercenary, I'm going to have both fighting skills, but also knowledge of the area. Knowledge is power. And also it can help me in weird encounters from...
Power is power.
But knowledge is also power. So for example, what we've got is we've got a skill called General. If you got the first skill of it, you can put someone in status so they're not going to die. But the second skill, you can basically like it's like your knowledge, but you only get one word response. So if I asked, what would weaken this monster? They might say frost or fire or that.
Drugs.
You never know.
It's a one-word answer, and it would weaken them potentially.
But if it was like, say, like we're fighting these ghosts, it might be, all right, what's going to fight this?
Light.
It's going to be like, right, Arcane will fight them. Devote won't work on them at all. Devote being like
holy,
the holy and stuff. So I had a book that I had to try and think like, what's going to weaken this book. And basically, it was a hard one-answer response, because
scissors.
You think like doing it.
Scissors beats paper.
But the only thing that actually worked on the book was smudging it, smudging the paint of it, and that caused the illusion to drop. So we had various of like rubbing dirt, someone peeing on the book, because basically you had to, because it wasn't just like simple like, oh, I'm scraping this thing. No, the ink was coughing. It's like pee on the book, anything you could basically to stop the element, because we want to escape, because if this thing continued, we were going to die.
I mean, I suppose it could have been worse. But yeah, no, that LARPing has sounded like it's been a lot of fun.
Oh, it has. It's 100% fun.
I'm not gonna lie, it's probably the longest we've ever stayed on a topic.
Oh, I know. The thing is, you get me on the conversation. This is what we worried about in like season 1 if we were talking about Marvel for too long.
Yeah. Also, because Marvel is such a broad topic, we used to go off topic a lot.
Oh, we did.
Whereas LARPing feels like very topic. It feels a bit more enclosed, considering how much you do.
Yes.
But you're talking about mostly your experience. So, and since you've only done it twice, like 3 days of it, you're still like pretty limited.
Oh god, yeah, I'm
so
still learning,
which is great. But I feel like before we make this a 5-hour podcast where you talk about LARPing, I think we're gonna call it a day.
Indeed.
For an episode. Simply because I still have to like rewatch this and make sure it's PJ. So that is going to be the end of the podcast. So I'm going to do the sign off. The stream's not ending just yet, but the podcast is. So until next time, have a drink, have a laugh, We love you from the bottom of our guts. Until next time, tatty bye!
Just a couple of guys chatting over a brew. Won't tell you no lies, it's